Hello everyone, welcome back to A Guy Called Henry. Guys, today I want to talk about a fighter, a very, very special talent in the heavyweight division, someone that I'm really excited about. He's not called Joe Joyce or Derek Chisora, who we've just seen have a massive war, but for me, the real story was on the undercard in young Moses Itauma, 19-year-old heavyweight from the UK. I'm super excited about this prospect, guys. He is out there. He's trying to break Mike Tyson's record of being the youngest heavyweight champion in history. And, I think he might be able to do it based on what I've seen tonight. I think he is absolutely fantastic. And he's got all the ability in the world. People are going to say that he's being moved too fast. People are going to say he's not being moved fast enough. We're going to try and figure out, we'll look at this video. We're going to do a game film analysis of this fight. It's a super impressive feat to even knock down Mariusz Wach because it's only happened a few times. He's been stopped before, but he's only been knocked down a few times. He recently went the distance with Frazer Clarke. This is a great win for Moses Itauma, and it sort of shows us his level, and he is ready to go and take on those guys at British level at the very least. So today I just want to do a quick analysis of this game film. I've not prepared for this. I'm just going to go straight into it, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing as we're watching. And Itauma, my understanding of him at the moment is that he is a very athletic, very talented heavyweight. He's definitely not one of the biggest heavyweights out there. I think he came in around 239 for this fight, but I'm really, really intrigued to see how his career moves, to see if he can break Mike Tyson's record. As I understand it, he passed up the opportunity of going for the Olympics to try and break this record. This is a professional goal that he has, and this is something he wants to do. So honestly, I just want to get straight into this. We're going to just do this game film analysis, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing as we're watching, and then we'll sort of assess what his route to the top might be. I would like to go through the heavyweight top 10 and have a think about who might this guy be able to beat right now. So let's get into it. So straight away, we can see Itauma. He's in a southpaw stance. I mean, first thing I want to draw your attention to here is look how close together the feet are. And, when you talk about southpaw and orthodox, the southpaw fighter typically, or orthodox indeed, you're trying to battle to have your lead foot on the outside because then you can line up your backhand down the middle of their line. And, it means that it brings yours into play and takes theirs out of play to an extent. So, first thing I want to show you is how close their feet are together here. So they're both in range here, which at heavyweight is a ballsy thing to be doing, just standing in range like that. And the interesting thing about Itauma here is he is the more athletic man. So I believe that this close foot position is something that will favor him. Wach is not a very fast fighter, and he's someone who tends to have that lead hand quite low at times. And this is something you see in the heavyweight division very often. Frequently, I did it in my Bakole analysis the other day. A lot of heavyweights carry their lead hand very low, or they at least bring it back very low when they're jabbing, and they don't bring it back to their chin, and there's opportunities there generally to counter. So Wach throws the jab out. Itauma slips it, and instantly he throws that backhand. And he doesn't quite land it on Wach there. I think it just catches him short. It lands, but it's not hitting him with the full force. He's fully extended. Wach is still there, and he just pulls out slightly, and he's fine. But instantly you can see what he's trying to do there, Itauma, and then he pulls his head back, and Wach doesn't want to test it again. He maybe could reach him with the jab there, but it's too slow, and his head's already well away from the target. And you see Itauma here. He's already at the beginning. What I think he's trying to do here is take away Wach's jab early. So again, feet are close. They're really, really close, and they're well in range here, both of them. But you can see, if I just skip it forward a bit here, he just parries the jab there, and it's easy for him, and he just takes a step back as he parries the jab. And then Wach comes in with another jab, which falls short. And already you can see he's starting to understand the range. He's starting to understand when he's safe and when he's not. And when you can keep your feet that close together the majority of the time, but then you can, just quickly move out, move in, and it means he's going to start being able to land shots and then find himself in safety as quickly as he can. And, the earlier you can establish that in a fight, the better. I like this here. There's so much to unpack here already. He's doing a lot. Again, feet really close together. And something that Usyk likes to do is he moves his head not in a reactionary way. It's proactive head movement. So he's always trying to create indecision in the opponent. He's always trying to, create angles, create space. And, when you move your head before they've thrown a punch, it means that they haven't got a static target to hit. So it lets you stand in range in a more safe manner. So if we just edge it forward here, see Itauma, little slip. Nothing coming, just a little slip. Looks to the side. If they're from there, he can then do a lot. He can step round him if he wants. He's given himself an angle. The backhand's lined up. And yeah, let's move it forward. Look at this. So this little sequence of three things. So slips the head. He then feints, just pours the jab out. He just lets him know, I'm here, I'm in your range, I'm in your space. And then he dips down. And all those things, Whack doesn't react to any of them. So all these things, you're looking always, when you make little movements like that in boxing, you're looking to see what your opponent does. Whack's not biting on any of them. And when you're that close to somebody, you know that means you can launch an attack. And, Whack's not the best counter puncher. So I think Itama will feel pretty safe here. Big dip there. That big dip, that's what I'm talking about. That big dip of the legs, that feint. So he's like, okay, I can go low. He's not doing anything. I can put my jab out. He's not doing anything. Just not getting those reactions means, and Whack's got a decent hand position here. But Itama, he's already discovered he can move in and out of range quite comfortably. And this is all in the first 20 seconds of the round. He's just done so much already. So, look here. He's sort of just pouring the jab out. And then you see the Whack's hand is going with him. It's he's sort of mesmerizing him. So he puts it out. He brings it down. Whack's hand goes down too. But you see the difference in hand position here. So Itama's is coming to his shoulder area. Whack's is like down at his body area because he's going to try and shoulder roll in defense. So Itama knows from that movement that every time he pours the jab, like feints it out, it's not a feint, it's more of a pouring jab, but he sees the rhythm he's creating and Whack's pulling his hand down. So he knows if he goes for it, which he does here, he puts his hand out, Whack drops the hand again, he throws the jab straight out there and he catches him just slightly on the face there. And interestingly, if you look at their feet here, Itama is actually inside Whack's leg there. So it's actually, and I think it's not a great position. He'll probably trip as he tries to exit, but you can see like Whack is actually in a decent position here to try and throw a right hand. He's got his leg. He's probably a bit too side on, to be fair. If his back foot was a bit more over here, then he would be in position to launch that right hand, but he's leaning back as well. So yeah, he would have to kind of throw himself in a bit to make that happen. But as he pulls back, yeah, his foot literally comes off the ground, just step over Whack's foot there. So that's something he's got to be a little bit careful of as he enters and exits the pocket. Good example here of counter punching, and he's starting to get, as I say, he's very, very quickly found his range. He's very, very quickly creating indecision in Whack. So Whack throws the jab here. Itama slips inside, and rather than going up top this time, he throws the backhand to the body, and then comes up top with a lead southpaw sort of hooking shot. It's not quite a hook. It's more of it's like a looping front hand, which lands pretty clean. I think it kind of catches Whack on the top of the head. Yeah, it just misses actually. It kind of scuffs his head. But again, warning signs there for Whack. If he tries to do anything, if he tries to be aggressive with the jab, Itama's going to time him, and he's going to make that counter-attacking opportunity happen. And I don't know how big of a puncher Itama is, but it looks like he's a big enough puncher so far. Like Whack doesn't look like he wants to be getting hit with those shots. I mean, I just want to show you again. Like it's so interesting to me how close they are here. Like so close. So you would think that would be an easy shot for Whack to land with the longer arms and stuff. They're so close right now. The ranges knee to knee, like they're really close together. But if we edge it forward, yeah. So look here, they're close, but Itama's ready, and it's just a little step back. Throws the jab out. It's a small step back, and look at the understanding of range here. Like this is so impressive. Like look at Itama's face. Eyes are wide open. He's not. Let me draw that again. He's not even flinching. He's watching that jab all the way. Whack is fully extended here, his arm, and Itama's watching it all the way, and he just knows the range so quickly. It's very, very impressive stuff. Look where the feet are. So close together. Right there. And, clearly in range, clearly Whack's like, let me have a go at this guy. He's ready to attack. He's got his hands in a decent position in front of his chest, nice and loose. Itama's lead hand is low. Which, would be a problem for some fighters, but not for him because he's very, very athletic. But if we just edge it forward here, see Whack lets that jab go, and he actually does land on Itama here. So this time it was a bit of an issue. Even a fight with the fastest reactions, you're standing in range like that the whole time. You are going to get hit by the jab from time to time. But what's impressive here is how he reacts, and he just takes a sting off it. It lands, yes, but he just leans back a little bit, and instantly he's ready to counter. And interestingly, as I was saying before, his foot is in that sort of inside position where, again, I was saying you want to be on the outside ideally, but his foot's inside Whack's lead foot again. And I guess whilst that would typically bring the backhand into play, again, Whack's very, very side on. would typically bring the backhand into play. Actually, what it does as well is it allows him to sort of inside channel to counter off the jab with his own jab. So then he comes back with a quick jab. He's stepped inside. He's well in range and he's landed it clean there. And he's got him moving backwards now. Because Wax got much slower feet than Itama, he can't just skip out of range. And also, you look, they're sort of intertwined here, their lead legs. I'll just edge it forward again. And see that Wax missed with the jab, and Itama gets his head off to the side at the same time as throwing that backhand to the body. And that's a nice shot. And then he comes up top with that hook, and it's literally, he probably scrapes his face a little bit. It's just not quite there, but that shows you the size of Whack. You know, look at their feet. Again, he's actually got his foot inside Whack's foot, and still it's not quite landing. And that's because Whack's got this sort of big frame, big long upper body. So he's just like leaning back, and it's just taking the edge off a little bit. But now his back foot's fully loaded as well. So getting out of range again is going to be difficult. So let's see what happens as the attack ends. Itama sort of falls off to the side, and they reset. But that's quite interesting, that little exchange there. You know, the ability of Itama there to go high, low, high, to very to the head, very to the body, to be able to counter with multiple shots like that, not just a single punch, but throw multiple combinations, have the foot speed to match the hand speed and maintain your balance the whole time. That's really, really impressive, and that can make up for a lack of height and a lack of size. Actually, out of interest, how tall is Moses Itama supposed to be? 6'2.5", so definitely not one of the bigger heavyweights today, but you know, if you've got the speed, then it's okay. It's not going to be too much of an issue for him. Let's continue on. So, and here we're going to see Itama capitalizing on a sort of pawing half jab from Whack, where it looks to me like, you know, Itama's making Whack miss here. He's either stepping out of range, or he's moving his head, or he's just catching the punch. And so Whack's already becoming a bit tentative to throw his jab straight out because of the way he got countered just a moment ago, as I showed you. So this time he paws it out, and Itama, rather than sort of taking that and taking a step back, he instantly sees the jabs pulling up short. I mean, he must be reacting at the very last moment to be able to do this. Instantly sees the jabs stopping short and instantly throws a counter lead hand. And he's sort of, it's quite interesting actually. So you see the shape he takes here. It's actually a lead sort of hook that turns up into, it turns to quite a straight punch in the end. So you see his hand position here. Wax stops his punch, and Itama, he's being brave here, and he's very willing to, I mean, he's got to be willing to eat that punch, basically, unless he's as fast as I think he might be. But you can see Wax lead hand is here. Itama is already, he's creating this angle with his hand so he can get around Wax's shoulder there, around his jab. And let's just edge it forward. You can see stepped in. So look, I mean, again, like, he stepped all the way into Wax range here. He's right. He's inside Wax front foot. And he comes forward. He lands that big shot to the head. And Whack, again, is leaning back. Rather than moving his feet out of range, Whack just stands there. And again, because he's inside here, he's having to sort of step over Whack's foot as he comes out. And he actually catches it a little bit there, which is not ideal. But he's all good. Again, Whack tries to jab here. Again, they're in range, nice and close. Feet, I mean, it's so close together. I mean, again, you'd think you're in range here. You'd think you're safe to throw a punch. Again, but because Itama's got this sharpness about him, because he's quick, he can counter. Whack throws the jab. And Itama just, it does brush his face, but he just pulls back. Feet are close together again. And again, Whack wants the jab. He extends the jab, and Itama just parries it. So, again, it's like, if you're Whack, that indecision's already there. Like, he's already essentially started to neutralize, or more or less neutralize Whack's, his lead hand, which is, you know, absolutely crucial for him. Well, crucial for any fighter. So quickly, he's created indecision in Whack, and when can I actually throw my jab? When can I actually extend it properly? When do I, you know, you want to pour it sometimes, you just want to try and find your range, and he's trying to see how Itama reacts as well, but he's so fast and so sharp, it's very, very difficult for him here, and that indecision's already been created in Whack, which you know will create counter-attacking opportunities for Itama, and opportunities for him to, you know, capitalize on that lazy lead hand. Big feint with the foot, acts like he's going to go, and the reaction he gets from Whack there. Look what happens. So Whack actually lowers his lead hand. So his hand is now down there. He's got his right hand up in a good position, to be fair, so he's sort of half defending himself. He'll use the shoulder as well to try and roll any punches. But Itama's starting to download that information now and understand what is Whack going to do when I feint, when I go to throw a shot without him throwing anything. How does he react? What happens when I lead off? And almost instantly after that, he does decide to lead off. So a few seconds later, again, really interestingly, steps inside the lead leg. He doesn't mind being in there. You know, a lot of fighters won't want that because, you know, the backhand is on. I think with Whack, though, the thing is because he's guarding with his right hand, when Itama jabs up top, that preoccupies the hand he's using to predominantly guard with, that right hand. And so Whack actually can't throw a counter right there unless he catches and throws instantly, which I don't think he has the speed or athleticism to do. And if we just continue on, you see Itama throws that hand, he steps again, he's like, I mean, that's actually insane. Look at the position here. He is really in Whack's space. I mean, Whack's lead leg here is almost touching Itama's back leg, which is how inside he's managed to get here, Itama. It sounds, some of the language I'm using sounds a bit dodgy here, but anyway, he's right in his range is the point. And if we just go on, he tries to throw the backhand, Whack sort of dips his head down, but Itama's got him now in the pocket. So that attack ends, and then phase 2 begins, and Itama is standing in front of Whack again. Whack, as Itama goes to attack, Whack puts the jab in. Itama takes it a little bit, but he's willing to take one in the face here from Whack, and he lands a really nice southpaw backhand to the body, which I don't think Whack will enjoy too much. Now you can see the confidence is growing, just starting to lead off a little bit, so a bit more of a gap between them this time, which you'd think would favour Whack, but because he's a bit lackadaisical with that lead hand, Itama now knows when he feints what Whack will do, so he's just going to launch in one here. He steps in, and, you know, his legs are not too wide here at all. He kind of springs from a good distance out. It wasn't a problem. Good balance about him there. Lands the jab to the head. And Whack, again, he's just lazy with that lead hand. He's not bringing it back. He's not bringing it back all the way, and Itama's going to start realizing this. Well, if he hasn't already, we know he's realized that. And one thing we are seeing here from Itama is really good defensive variety. Now, I talked about this before in my Shakur Stevenson video, and you know, when you've got multiple different ways of blocking an opponent's attack and multiple different ways of dealing with what they're doing, you know, it creates that offensive indecision because they don't know what you're going to do, so they don't know what they can then do. So they don't know if you're going to parry the jab, they don't know if you're going to slip and try and create opportunity that way, and it just makes you more hesitant when you're not quite sure how someone's going to deal with you. And also it creates a variety of offense for Moses Itama. If he moves his head, he can shoot into that empty space. He can come up top or he can go down low. It depends where you're bringing your jab back. If you're Whack, you can see what he's doing. But again here, Itama, you know, Whack puts the jab out here. Itama just slips inside it, and he's ready to throw that backhand if he wants to, but he doesn't here. He just stays in the space. Whack's sort of pulling his head down, which is maybe why he doesn't let a shot go. But again, he's inside. He's inside Whack's lead leg, and I'm sure there's a reason for this, and I think it is probably because of this lead hand. He's not worried about it at all because it is the only thing protecting Whack's face. It's his defense. I'm sure this is a detail Ben Davidson's pointed out to him, knowing how they operate. But you can see he just pulls back here. Whack tries to throw a shot, which actually catches Itama a little bit on the chin there, but technically you're not able to hold the back of the head like that to land a shot, but that's the only way he's been able to land something so far, which is testament to his defensive capabilities. See here again, in range, and Itama's just waiting for Whack to put the jab out. He's committed to it this time, and it might just touch his face ever so slightly, but again, his understanding of the range here is impeccable. He just pulls back, and then he launches his counter, and he fires that jab in, catches Whack on the face. Whack's pulling backwards here, and then he throws that backhand over the top, and it just misses. He's done this a couple of times in the fight as well. He just flicks the jab out once, twice, again, which allows him to get his foot into range. If you watch here, watch what he does with his foot. So it goes from this position here to, again, he gets inside Whack's range. Like, he's literally right in his face, and it completely takes away any extra reach advantage that Whack has here. So you see he feints once, twice, and as he does that, you see where his foot ends up. So within our arrow there, he's moved quite a long way. And now in that position, Whack's leaning backwards slightly to defend, and that will create attacking opportunity there for Itama. So let's see what he does. He throws the backhand, and Whack blocks it with his arm. But again, really clever stuff. So all that was just in round one. So you can see in round one that, just how quickly he was able to establish a pattern of attack. He very, very quickly figured out what he was able to do with Whack, and the amount of indecision he's already created in Whack, you could see every time he's tried to throw that jab out, it gets countered, something happens to him. You know, even when he lands one, he's taking one back. So the apprehension in him will be very real now. And what impressed me about Itama in that first round was just the ease at which he was able to enter the pocket. I mean, he's already in the pocket, but to actually be able to get into Whack's space like that, you know, it's quite strange in a way. And definitely no disadvantage to him in this fight in being the smaller man. And really getting inside Whack's long limbs. But let's go into round 2, and we'll see how he knocks him down and how he stops him. So at the start of this round, you can see already he's found the range now. So look, Whack throws a loose jab, which goes to the side of Itama. Itama, boom, big lead jab to the head. You know, so that's a hard jab. That's not a pawing jab at all. He's hurt him there. Almost instantly, similar situation. Whack this time he's tried to jab to the head. Itama's just leant back ever so slightly, and but you know he knows now what Whack does after he jabs. That lead hand, it comes back low. He's seen it every single time. Not once has he brought it back in a high guard, and boom, big sharp jab again. And he's just started to go through the gears here at the start of this second round. And this is a nice bit of variation here as well. You know, again, always in range when he attacks. I've not seen him do anything lunging. It's all very controlled, very balanced. You know, sometimes when you're the small guy, you do launch in a little bit. It doesn't do that here. And this time, he dips down rather than throwing the jab, though, which he's been doing pretty much every time he throws the backhand. So, boom. That's a big shot. That's a really nice big shot. Just above the belt line. It's a perfect height for a body shot. And he hits Whack clean there. Again, capitalizing on a lazy jab. Pulls back. Counters with the lead hand. And look, I love the way he sort of... In fact, his lead leg's actually in the air as he lands that, but he sort of pushes forward and he hits him hard there. And in the first round, there was a couple times where he countered with that lead shot, and it didn't land that clean, but there you see he hits him clean on the head. This time, instead of stepping inside, he steps outside. So you see here, takes a step forward, jab comes a little short, but then this time, instead of just pulling out again, he follows it up. But this time, look where his foot's going. So that uses the jab again to get himself into distance, but foot is here, just right on Whack's foot again. He's going to end up over here, which is quite incredible. So steps all the way around him, lands that clean jab to the face, and then plants his foot, and now you can see perfectly he's teed up for that backhand. And this time, Whack's lead hand, if you can see that, has come down a little bit lower. So that's opened up that shot. And if you look where his feet are as well, I mean, he's just in the perfect position. Whack is fully loaded on his back leg, so anything he takes is going to be pretty full blow. And boom! Right on the top of the head there. Just as Whack sort of dips down to try and defend it. Still in the pocket here. And Whack just manages to block it with his right hand that time. And Itama again. I mean, that's not a great position, but, you know, it's in motion. Whack's not doing anything. He's not coming back with anything. If he could, then Itama probably wouldn't take this chance to bring his feet that close together. I mean, you look where he is here. He's not doing anything. The right hand's completely preoccupied, and that's the big thing with Whack that we've seen in this fight, and that Itama, I'm sure, knew coming into this fight. If you land something to his head, his right hand is preoccupied, and so he can't really counter. And that gives you the opportunity to throw combinations. And he comes back again. Another punch to the body there. And a huge right hook up top. And just the way that he just is a bit relentless here. It's really, really impressive. You know, he just keeps his feet moving. He keeps his balance the whole time. Whack's definitely reeling a bit here. And then this is vicious here on the ropes. Lands that big shot there. Big backhand. And then this time, because he knows that lead hand is loose and he's so close now. The right hand's loose as well. Whack's he's looking to throw something here, but Itama's just too fast. And he brings that big lead hand. He hits him clean on the chin. And very, very accurate work here from Moses Itama. And that's the main thing I'm noticing about him here is his shots are just very, very accurate. And now he's really starting to bring everything into play. So we'll see here. Whack brings out the jab. Itama slips it inside. Again, shoots that backhand. And Whack's reeling a bit here, comes round, and then he just creates the angle for himself really nicely there. So he throws the backhand, it lands, boom, and then he just lets his weight jump forward, pivots on his lead foot, and then he's created a really nice angle for himself. Whack is side on, and he can then land that lead shot, And Wack's in all sorts of trouble here. And he creates that. That's a great shot. That's a really, really great shot. So that's actually what happens right before the knockdown, which is coming now. So he follows up again. Wack tries to flick the jab out to control Itama coming into his range, and he just can't land it. Itama's head movement is too good. Lands the backhand to the body, and then instantly follows up with that lead hook. And again, you can see his feet are on the outside here, which is what's sort of starting to create all these backhand opportunities. And indeed, fronthand opportunities, because when he's coming inside with that jab, it kind of means his work's getting smothered a little bit, but it's a new position for him to be in when he's coming into the pocket with Wack. And again, Wack's not dealing with it well. Lands that massive hook, and it sends Wack to the canvas. To be honest, there's not too much to assess it. You sort of blinds him with the jab, and you can see that Wack hasn't reacted at all there. He's not moving. He's probably a bit dazed from just being knocked down. So he knows he can step in pretty safely here. And again, feints him again. And then, doesn't feint him, sorry. He flicks the jab into his face again. And then, big backhand. And Wack's covering up here. And Itama's not landing much clean at the moment. Misses that uppercut. But lands the jab there. Touches him. Goes low. That's a very nice body shot. And you can see the referee's just waiting there, waiting to see something clean to jump in, but Wack's not giving anything back here. Again, that misses, and boom, that's lovely. So shoots over the top. Wack tries to come back with something just to get him off him, and it sort of hits him in the armpit there, Itama. Wack extends the jab again, so he's trying to show the ref, look, don't stop it here, don't stop me. And then Itama lands that big body shot again. Boom, another shot to the chin. And it's accurate. It's really, really accurate stuff. Little uppercut inside there. It's just good combinations, good balance. Throws it round the guard. That's really nice there. Like, it's what you want to see. Like, how often do you see a fighter just punching onto the guard? Itama doesn't do that. He sees the space, and his composure here on the finish is what's impressive. He's looking for gaps. He's looking for spaces. What is Wack giving me? What can I do to hurt him? He's got a high guard up. He's blinding his own vision. Let me just throw around it. Boom, big shot. And then, because he's hit him hard there, Wack then lowers his guard a little bit, and boom, straight away, the speed of that. Boom, straight away, throws the backhand. Boom, clean shot. And I think, there you go, that's that clean shot. Which is actually not that clean. It hits him on the glove, but I think the refs just thought, you know what, this guy's not going to win. I've seen enough. And that's the end of that. So guys, I've just pulled up the top 10 heavyweight rankings because the aim of this is to have a look at things and go, what could he do against a top 10 heavyweight right now? And is there a route to a title for him? I don't know exactly how old Tyson was, how many days and 20 years old he was, but Itama would have to basically fight in the next year roughly to break that record. But I just want to look and see, as it stands, how do I think he would fare against the top 10 heavyweights? Obviously, Wack is it's his first real test, and it's a good measuring stick for us to look at. I think the next logical fight for him is the British title. I think he's that good already. And I think I would fancy him against either Clark or Wardley. I think he's got all the tools to go and outbox either of those guys. I don't think Wardley's fast enough. So I don't think Clark is fast enough to deal with him. I think Itama would get into his range, and I think he would hurt Fraser Clark. Fabio Wardley would be a brilliant fight, and I'd absolutely love to see that. I don't want to rush him, but equally, if this is his goal, if his goal is to try and break Mike Tyson's record, let him do it. If he loses, he's got more than enough time to come back. The promoters might not want to move him that quickly, but I don't see it as a problem. I think they should try. Why not? Let's give it a go. But let's look at the top heavyweights right now. So Jared Anderson, similar fighter, both athletic, both fast. I think that he might be a better version of Jared Anderson, to be honest with you, from what I'm seeing. And that's, that's with all due respect to Jared Anderson. We'll see how he gets on against Bakole next weekend. But I think this kid is a prodigy, and I think he's got I think he's more talented than Jared Anderson probably. But the big thing with Jared Anderson everyone worries about is just his mindset, his mentality. When was this rankings list actually made? Okay, so not long ago. Michael Hunter, smaller heavyweight, good heavyweight. I like Michael Hunter, not had many chances. That would be an interesting fight. I think he'd find it quite challenging. Similarly built, fast guy, not the biggest heavyweight out there. So that would be an interesting fight. You'd be a brave man to put him with Michael Hunter right now, that's for sure. And stylistically, I think a more difficult fight for him because they have some similar attributes. Martin Bakole, let's see what happens in this fight at the weekend against Jared Anderson that's coming up next week. But that would be an interesting fight because Bakole has that very low lead hand, but he's an absolute brute and he gives you a lot more to deal with than Amaris Wak does. So again, dangerous fight. Ajit Kabayel, haven't watched him too much lately. I've not watched him really since he fought Chisora, I think was the last time I watched him, so it's been a long time. But I know he's a good boxer. And I'd actually fancy, from what I've seen of Talma in that fight, but I need to go and watch Kabayel. I need to study that matchup properly. Daniel Dubois, that would be a great fight. If Daniel Dubois wins the IBF title, if Daniel Dubois holds and retains the IBF title, he shouldn't really have it, in my opinion. I don't like when champions get given the belt. They call it a paper champion, don't they? I'd much rather it was vacant and him and Joshua fought for it, but I think he could do something against Daniel Dubois for sure, and that will be a very, very good fight. You know, as I assess this, a lot of these guys, all of them have ways of winning because they're heavyweights. And Italma could be slicker than all of them, to be honest with you. All the ones I've been through so far. Zhilei Zhang, dangerous fight, but, isn't the fastest fighter. Really fast with that backhand, don't get me wrong, but that could be really interesting. Joseph Parker, he's a wily old fox. He knows his way around the ring. He's got great skills. Managed to outbox Zhilei Zhang. Very, very tough. That will be a challenging fight for him. He's got the WBO interim title, so that could be interesting. And then we've got the top three, the main names, Joshua, Fury, Usyk. And right now, I wouldn't fancy him. He wouldn't be the favorite against any of them. But could he beat them? Does he have the potential? Absolutely, he has the potential to beat any of these guys. And Usyk would be very, very challenging for him, I think. Just because he's, size, Usyk's a bit, I think even maybe slightly taller than him. I think that Italma's going to fill out quite a bit. He probably will end up being quite a decent-sized heavyweight. He probably will fill out a fair amount. I was actually listening to the boxing show, the podcast for Boxing News, and Andy Clark was talking about this, and he was saying that, look at Italma, like he's got a boyish build still, which is frightening. He's going to fill out more, and it's very, very true. Right now, I would fancy all the top three against him. But I guess the point of this exercise is to go through and say, I actually think he competes with all of them. He gives all of them problems. The question is, how will he deal with what they do in attack? Because against Wak there, he was able to do a lot of things he wouldn't be able to do against these guys. But he shows the IQ and he shows the speed and the intelligence to actually adapt, and he'd have a game plan for sure, and it'd be very, very interesting. Experience-wise, you'd have to give it to these guys because they know their way around the ring a lot. Well, they've just got a lot more experience than he does. But yeah, I don't know. It would be intriguing. I would be intrigued to see him fight any of them. So do I want to see it? Absolutely. I'd love to see it. Give the lad a chance to fulfill on his promise. Give him a chance to break Mike Tyson's record. Do I think he'll do it? There's the big consideration here of politics as well. Is there going to be an available shot for him? Because Fury's tied up with Usyk. Usyk will likely have a Joshua trilogy if he's manages to get past Fury, or Joshua may fight Fury, which then would free up Usyk potentially. How long's Usyk going to go for? So many questions. I don't think he's planning on retiring anytime soon from the way he's speaking Usyk. So it just depends on whether or not someone's willing to back Italma and put enough money on the table, but there is a top 10 ranking system for a place. If I could pick one fight for him in this top 10 to get him in the mix as quickly as possible, it's dangerous, but I'd probably put him in against Zhang. If I could pick anyone. Because I think as long as he could get past the first part of the fight without getting significantly tagged and taking too much damage, I think he'd beat up Zhang over 12 rounds. I really do. I think he's got the engine for it. But that would be a fascinating fight. All of these would. Guys, get in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this breakdown. Let me know what you think about Moses Italma as a heavyweight. Do you think he can break Mike Tyson's record? Who would you match him against in the top 10 if you could make any fight right now outside of the top three, outside of the champions? And yeah, just let me know. Let me know what you think about him. I'm very excited about this prospect. It's really cool to see such a talented young fighter coming through. And I would love it. I would just love it if he could break the record. Records are made to be broken, in my opinion. We're all waiting for the next Usain Bolt, aren't we? We're all waiting for the next Mike Tyson. He is not Mike Tyson. He is Moses Italma. But he's very, very good for a 19-year-old. Anyway, guys, as I always say, until the next one.